If you don't know your worth, you will always be an experiment for others. In this video, I'd like to talk about a topic that is really dear to my heart, and not just as a sensual confidence expert who has helped hundreds of women to deal with this issue, but especially as a woman myself who has had her own fair shares of self-worth issues to deal with. In my experience, the root cause of all suffering is the lack of self-worth. We aren't born being insecure and feeling that we are not good enough. Just look at little babies and how much they love themselves, and they know exactly what to do in order to have their needs met. Nowadays, we have normalized diseases. Just look at 2020. Not understanding that diseases are a manifestation of our body for all the emotional turmoil that is going on inside of us. We have normalized stress. Yes, everyone is so busy all the time. We have normalized the burnout syndrome. Of course, how else could it be? Why haven't we normalized self-worth, self-love, confidence, putting ourselves first? If we grew up in a household that was highly unhealthy and unstable, and for the sake of the famous word toxic, we can even call it that. If we had a series of painful experiences and events taking place in our life, if our own voice and what we bring to the table has been neglected and rejected, we will, as a trauma response, have a lot of insecurities and lack the feeling of being worthy, of being of value. As a result, many are alienated, not just from other people, from their purpose, but in particularly from themselves. The baseline of confidence is self-worth and self-love. If we have confidence as a roof, those two are the pillars holding it. And I will give you a little astrological example so that you can see how all of this is connected. The planet Venus rules two zodiac signs. One of them is Libra, the other one is Taurus. In Libra, she rules love, beauty, relationships, fertility. In Taurus, she rules self-worth, finances, and money. It is not a coincidence that the Wall Street has a bull as its symbol. Now, what does it tell us? Self-worth is linked to two most important parts of our lives, which are our relationships that are at the core of our existence and our finances. Our insecurities can play out differently in certain life areas, and we can feel in one stronger and better than in the other. Nevertheless, our self-worth is only one, and it is connected to all parts of our lives. When we feel more secure and more safe, for example, in our career, but highly insecure in our relationships, we have to ask ourselves, what part of this insecurity is stronger where, why, and are we really authentically being stronger in that other part, or are we just trying to compensate the lack of one area into another? Self-worth issues are a part of us that we have claimed because we went through experiences that have caused us a lot of pain, but they are not who we are. When we are lacking the feeling of value within ourselves, it can express itself in two different ways. One is addiction, and the other one is the shadow. Now let's talk about addiction for a while. It is not just addiction to substances, but you can ask yourself, while many people try substances, how come some get truly addicted to it while others don't. Addictions can also be sex, shopping, and work. And why people tend to use this as an escape, it is because it is a pain relief. Substances in particular release dopamine, which gives us the feeling of being powerful, of feeling good, of feeling accomplished and successful. As well, we feel at inner peace and we feel relaxed. And because this is only short-lived, we keep wanting more and more and more, hence why we call it an addiction. The opposite of addiction, and what is really lacking often, is connection. And I'm talking about the connection within ourselves. The other part I was talking about is the shadow, because when we are lacking something from within, we are obviously expressing it outwardly. So we act either as the martyr, as the victim, or as the mother. How many people do you know that blame outside circumstances for their life? That claim to have the right for something, all the while they're struggling to deal with what they currently have in their life. When we are acting out our shadow, in particularly the martyr and the mother role, we give more and more to others. We tend to put others before us because, again, we are compensating something that we are lacking from within. It makes us seemingly feel good to be in service of other people, all the while we are struggling from within. And that can lead others to also use you if you are struggling to set healthy boundaries, which is often a result of the lack of self-worth. Now, how can you deal with it? The first thing that you can do is really observe your insecurity patterns. They became a pattern also because it was a thought that you kept rethinking that created a belief. Where in your life do you feel most insecure? What is happening in those moments? Who is around you? And then look back in your past experiences and preferably into your childhood. When can you remember that you the first time have these kind of feelings coming up? When was the first time you started feeling unworthy and insecure? And how has it played out in your life thus far? Observe your inner dialogue. When we are feeling insecure, we tend, as I mentioned before, to compensate it either with addictions or with putting other people first in front of us. What it also always does, it can distort our very own values that we are holding. If you look at the list of your values, what does it contain? What is on that list? Are those values of other people? For example, your parents, your family, or are they really yours? Now, when other people tend to break our values, what they actually do is they hurt our personal boundaries. Let's take honesty as an example. Now, values are not just what we expect from other people to treat us. And they're not just showing us how we like to treat others, but they're more so important in how we treat ourselves. When others are lying to you and are dishonest, they are breaking your personal boundary, and you will feel it because it will hurt. But how many times have you perhaps broken your own value and have not been honest to yourself? Being in a state of self-worth is not a virtue. It is your birthright. It is a muscle that has to be trained. All the experiences of your life have led you to this moment, and everything around you is just mirroring what is going on from within. So be brave and courageous to start today to really look inside and understand what personal insecurities you're displaying. Where in your life are you not valuing yourself? And how do others reflect that lack from within? Be your own dopamine. All it takes is the courage to start today, to build up that muscle and to become aware where it all has started, what the root cause is, and to start working step by step by step towards it. You are worthy of all the beautiful things in this life, and you are good enough to receive it all, but you have to claim it for yourself first. Sending you all so much love. Mwah.